What if the thing hurting you isn't what happened? What if it's what you whispered to yourself right after it happened? Have you ever noticed how one bad moment can turn into a bad day? And a bad day can quietly turn into a story about who you are. What if I told you there are two arrows in every painful moment, and most of us keep shooting the second one? Right now, before we go any further, just notice your shoulders. Let them drop a little. Take one slow breath in and a longer breath out. Because this video isn't here to fix you. It's here to help you come home to yourself. And if you stay with me, by the end of our time together, you'll have a simple way to meet stress, heartbreak, and uncertainty without losing yourself inside them.
A few years ago, I had a night where everything felt like it was collapsing at once. A message I didn't want to read, a silence I couldn't explain, and a tightness in my chest that made the room feel smaller than it was. I tried to outthink it. I tried to be positive. I tried to distract myself with more noise. But none of it worked, because the problem wasn't the moment. It was my mind trying to control what could not be controlled. That night, I stumbled back into an old teaching that's been quietly helping people for thousands of years, and I saw how beautifully it fits with modern psychology and real life in the modern West. Not as religion, not as philosophy you hang on a wall, but as a practice you can use at 2:17 a.m. when your phone is glowing and your heart feels too loud.
Here's the mini hook you need to remember for the next 90 minutes. You can't always stop the first arrow, but you can learn to stop the second. The first arrow is what life throws at you: a breakup, a layoff, a rude comment, a diagnosis, a mistake you can't undo. The second arrow is what you throw at yourself afterward. I'm not enough. I'll never recover. This proves something is wrong with me. Tonight, we're going to practice a different way, a way that doesn't deny pain, but also doesn't turn pain into identity. And we'll do it in a language that feels human, practical, and grounded.
Before we talk about impermanence, before we talk about attachment, before we talk about karma as cause and effect, let's do something small together. Because healing doesn't start in your ideas. It starts in your nervous system. If it's safe, let your eyes soften or close them halfway. Feel the weight of your body where it meets the chair or the floor. Inhale slowly through your nose. Exhale a little longer than you inhale. Again. Inhale. Exhale. Now quietly name 3 things you can hear. 2 things you can feel against your skin. 1 place in your body that's asking for kindness. And if your mind wandered, that's not failure. That's the practice. You noticed, and you came back.
Imagine this. You're driving home after a long day, and you get an email that starts with, "We need to talk." That email is the first arrow. Your stomach drops, your breath tightens, your mind speeds up. And then the second arrow arrives, almost instantly. "They're disappointed in me. I'm about to lose everything. I always mess things up." Nothing has actually happened yet, but your body is already living inside a future that doesn't exist. This is where most suffering begins, not in reality, but in the war we start with reality. So here's our first lesson, and it's gentle. Pain is unavoidable, but extra suffering is often optional. Not because you can think your way out, but because you can learn to meet the moment without adding poison to it. And over the next 90 minutes, we'll build that skill slowly, like strengthening a quiet muscle.
In a moment, I'll show you a simple question that can stop the second arrow in real time. It takes less than 10 seconds, and once you learn it, you'll start noticing something surprising. Your life may not change overnight, but your relationship with your life will.
So, let's begin with the truth that makes everything else make sense. Everything changes. And when we stop fighting that truth, we finally have the hands free to live.
If you only learn one skill today, let it be this. Notice the second arrow before it lands. Picture a very American moment. You're in a grocery store line. Your card declines. The cashier waits. The person behind you sighs. That is the first arrow. It stings. But then your mind fires the second arrow. They think I'm broke. I'm embarrassing. I can't get anything right. And suddenly, it's not a declined card anymore. It's an identity. Here's the comparison. The first arrow is facts. The second arrow is interpretation. Facts are heavy but clean. Interpretations are sticky and they multiply.
When the first arrow hits, your job is not to be perfect. Your job is to be present. Name it gently. This is embarrassment. This is fear. This is disappointment. And when you name it, you create space. And once you taste that space, you'll start to see the next truth. Everything changes. Even this. What if impermanence isn't a threat? What if it's your way out? Think about the weather in Chicago. One day it's bright and kind. The next day it bites your skin. No one takes it personally. No one says, the cold means I'm unworthy. They put on a coat. They adjust. They keep living. Now compare that to how we treat our inner weather. A wave of sadness arrives, and we call it a life sentence. A season of anxiety arrives, and we call it our personality. We confuse today with forever. We say, I'll always feel this way. We say, my best days are behind me. We say, this proves I'm broken. Impermanence means your pain is not permanent. Impermanence means your joy is worth savoring. Impermanence means you can stop fighting time and use time. But here's where it gets tricky. Even when we know things change, we still cling. And that brings us to attachment.
Love says, may you be well. Attachment says, don't leave. Imagine a relationship moment many Americans know. You see seen on a text. No reply. 10 minutes, 30 minutes. Your chest tightens. Your mind starts building a courtroom. Exhibit A, they don't care. Exhibit B, I'm too much. Exhibit C, they always do this. Here's the comparison. Love allows breathing room. Attachment demands certainty. Love stays curious. Attachment becomes a detective. Love asks for connection. Attachment asks for control. We think control will protect us. We check the phone more. We ask for reassurance in a sharper tone. We test people. We withdraw to punish. And then we call it boundaries. Real boundaries are calm. Real love is brave enough to be honest. You can say, I miss you, without saying, you owe me constant proof. You can love deeply and still let life be life. And when you stop trying to control everything outside you, you can finally see what you can shape, your next choice, your next action, your next ripple.
Karma is not a cosmic scoreboard. It's momentum. Let's keep it very practical. You snap at your coworker in a meeting. You feel powerful for 3 seconds. Then the room goes quiet. Trust drops 1 inch. Collaboration becomes colder. Opportunities get quieter. That's karma. Cause, effect, momentum. Here's a modern comparison. Some people love manifestation. They say, just think positive. But karma says, be specific. Karma says, what you practice becomes you. Karma says, tiny actions, repeated, become your life. People use karma to blame themselves. They say, I deserve suffering. Or they use karma to avoid responsibility. They say, it's just my karma, and do nothing. Karma is empowering when you understand it. You can interrupt momentum. You can plant a different seed today. A kinder email, a 10-minute walk, a sincere apology, a decision to sleep. But planting a new seed requires one thing first. You have to stop wrestling reality. You have to accept what is true. Acceptance is not surrender. Acceptance is clarity. Imagine you get laid off. You walk to your car. Your mind is loud. This is unfair. I'm ruined. I'll never recover. Here's the comparison. Resignation says nothing matters. Acceptance says this is what happened. Resignation collapses your energy. Acceptance frees your energy. Resignation hides. Acceptance plans. People confuse acceptance with tolerating harm. They stay in abusive workplaces. They stay in relationships where respect is missing. They say, I'm practicing acceptance, but they are practicing abandonment of self. Acceptance starts with one sentence. This is the truth of this moment. And then a second sentence. What is wise next? Not perfect next, wise next. And to find wise next, you need access to your nervous system, because a dysregulated body can't hear wisdom. So we practice mindfulness. Mindfulness isn't about becoming calm. It's about becoming aware. You don't need a mountain. You don't need incense. You need one honest minute. Here is a real-life scene. You're stuck on the freeway. Your podcast is playing. Your phone buzzes. Your jaw is tight. Your shoulders are up. You're already at tomorrow. Distraction says, run from this feeling. Mindfulness says, stay with this feeling. Distraction numbs you for a moment. Mindfulness befriends you for a lifetime. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 6. Do it 3 times. Feel your hand tension, impatience, worry. People try mindfulness like a test. They say, my mind won't stop, and they quit. The mind wandering is not failure. Noticing is the rep. Coming back is the rep. That is the gem. And once you can come back, you can see something life-changing. Thoughts are not commands. They are visitors.
You are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices them. Imagine it's 2:17 a.m. You wake up. Your mind starts scrolling without a phone. I'm behind. I'm alone. I'm a mess. And your body reacts like it's true. Comparison. When you fuse with thoughts, they become reality. When you observe thoughts, they become weather. Clouds pass. The sky remains. People treat every thought like a courtroom verdict. They say, if I think it, it must be true. Or they fight thoughts aggressively. They say, stop it, and the thought grows louder. Try one simple phrase. I'm having the thought that. I'm having the thought that I'm not enough. And suddenly the thought is not you. It's just a sentence in the mind. And you can breathe again. But even with this skill, modern life has traps. And these traps keep pulling us into the second arrow. Let's name them kindly. Your suffering is not a personal failure. It's often a predictable pattern. Trap 1. Doom scrolling and comparison. You see someone's perfect vacation in Maui. You look at your Monday sink full of dishes, and your mind whispers, you're falling behind. Trap 2. Perfectionism at work. You rewrite the email 6 times. You delay the project. You call it high standards, but it's fear dressed as professionalism. Trap 3.
Productivity equals worth. You rest, and guilt appears. You feel like you have to earn peace. Trap 4. Conflict avoidance. You don't say what you need, you ghost. You become passive, and resentment grows in silence. Trap 5. Instant relief. Shopping, binging, drinking, anything to not feel. We shame ourselves for the trap. We say, "What's wrong with me?" And shame becomes the second arrow again. Name the trap. Pause. Choose one antidote. One breath. One honest text. One glass of water. One walk. Small is powerful when repeated. Now let's make it real. Let's take these teachings into 3 American life scenarios. Work, love, loss.
Same life, different relationship with life. Case 1. Work. Your manager says, "Can you hop on a quick call?" First arrow. A call. Second arrow. I'm in trouble. I'm disposable. Practice. Name it. Fear is here. Breathe. Ask, what is true right now? Then act wisely. Clarify expectations. Document priorities. Take feedback as data, not identity. Old path is panic and performance. New path is presence and precision. We either collapse or we overcompensate. We send 12 messages. We work until midnight. We burn out and call it ambition. Your value is larger than your role, and clear action beats frantic action.
Love. You feel someone pulling away. First arrow. Distance. Second arrow. I'm unlivable. Practice. Speak simply. I feel disconnected. I'd like to talk. Hold your dignity. Hold your tenderness. Attachment begs. Love communicates. Attachment threatens. Love clarifies. We chase or punish. We test people instead of telling the truth. Secure love is not loud. Secure love is clear. Case 3. Loss. A diagnosis. A death. A season you did not choose. First arrow. Grief. Second arrow. I shouldn't feel this. I need to be strong. American culture often pushes, move on. But healing asks for, move through. We rush grief. We numb it. We isolate. We pretend we're fine. Grief is love with nowhere to go. Let it be felt. Let it be held. Let community be part of your practice. So now you have the map. But a map isn't a path until you walk it. Let's build your 7-day plan. One stone at a time. You don't need a new life. You need a new next step. Here is the simple rhythm. Name arrow 1. Notice arrow 2. Regulate your body. Choose one wise action. Repeat. Day 1. Write the 2 arrows once. What happened? What story you added? What you wish you could say to yourself instead? Day 2. 3 rounds of 4 in, 6 out. Morning, afternoon, night.
Day 3. Map your triggers. Work triggers, relationship triggers, money triggers, and one small support for each. Day 4. Choose one attachment. Control, approval, certainty. Practice loosening it for one day. Day 5. Plant one karma seed. A habit so small you can't fail. 10 push-ups, 5 minutes journaling, 1 gratitude text. Day 6. Practice repair. 1 apology, 1 honest conversation, 1 boundary stated calmly. Day 7. Review without judgment. What worked? What didn't? What you learned about your own mind? What you want to continue?
People try to change everything at once and then quit when life gets messy. Consistency beats intensity. Gentleness beats self-attack. And every time you return to the present, you are winning. In the final part, we'll gather the threads. We'll name what matters most. And we'll leave you with a closing practice you can use whenever life gets loud. Life will still shoot arrow 1, but you don't have to shoot arrow 2. You are not your anxiety. You are not your shame. You are the one who notices and chooses again. Name arrow 1. Notice arrow 2. Breathe to regulate. Remember impermanence. Plant small seeds. Choose wise next. Hand on your chest. Inhale. Exhale longer. Say inside. Right now, I'm safe enough. I'm allowed to be human. And I will take 1 step. If this helped you, hit like so it reaches someone who's struggling quietly. Subscribe, because the next video will be a 10-minute reset for anxiety, for insomnia, for overthinking nights. And comment 1 sentence. My second arrow is just 1 sentence, so you can see it clearly, and so you don't carry it alone. The first arrow will come, that's life. But from today, you can stop shooting the second.